So we went from this is going to be a boom time to we could be looking at a bear market really, really fast. So Joe Biden yesterday, he came out and he spoke to the press. And then, of course, the press were ushered out without being able to ask any serious questions of him. Well, on their way out, the press do what they usually do, which is they start yelling questions to the president of the United States in the hopes that he responds. And Peter Doocy caught a fish, right? He threw his line in the water and he caught a fish. This time, Joe Biden did respond to him, but it was on a hot mic. And here's what it sounded like.
What do you think President on inflation that? Do you think inflation is a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a...
Okay, so the actual question that Doocy asked was, do you think inflation is a political liability in the midterms? And Biden responded, it's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch. Right? He said that about Peter Doocy. So, a few things here that are kind of hilarious. First of all, I don't care very much about presidents saying things that we all say about one another, except they happen to get caught on a mic. As somebody who's on a mic half of the day, I'm sure that there's audio of me saying things on a hot mic that I really wouldn't want to be public. So I really don't care too much about this. However, the hypocrisy of the media here is astonishing. Astonishing, because you'll remember that Donald Trump once called a reporter a son of a bitch, right, at a rally. This is in September of 2017. And Chris Hayes posted, today the president called American citizens who expressed their political views, sons of bitches. And then yesterday, after this happened with Peter Doocy, he tweeted, literal LOL. Or how about Brian Stelter from CNN, the watchdog of the media? He said, calling a journalist a son of a bitch, it was wrong when Trump was just a candidate. It's even worse now that he's president because he did it again in March of 2018. Okay, so what did he have to say yesterday? Quote, at the end of a Biden photo op, when reporters shouted cues, hoping he'd respond, Fox's Peter Doocy asked, do you think inflation is a political liability in the midterms? Biden deadpanned, it's a great asset, more inflation, what a stupid son of a bitch. So it was totally fine with Brian Stelter this time around. Meanwhile, you'll recall that in 2020, Donald Trump called somebody a name, and here was Joe Biden's tweet. Trump deflects legitimate questions with attacks. He bullies members of the press instead of taking responsibility for his failures. His efforts to undermine public confidence in the integrity of reporting violate our core values and threaten our very system of government. It was all pearl clutching all the way down when it was Trump. But when it's Biden, he's just a genial old fellow who sometimes gets a little bit codgery. You know, NBC's Kelly O'Donnell, who, by the way, is the incoming president of the White House Correspondents Association. She said yesterday on the air about Biden, quote, he does not like when questions are asked about a subject other than the planned event. Oh, so it's okay now. Got it. Because it was Joe Biden. So it's okay. Remember, Joe Biden said just a couple of months ago that he would fire anybody who's disrespectful to other reporters. That was after one of his press secretaries, TJ Ducklow, called up a reporter and started yelling at her. So here was Biden just a few months back.
I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot.
Well, sadly, we cannot fire him on the spot. That is too bad. Apparently, Biden did call Peter Doocy on Monday evening. And Doocy said, after years of clips of the president and me mixing it up on the campaign trail and during the transition and here at the White House, within about an hour of that exchange, he called my cell phone. He said, it's nothing personal, pal. And we went back and forth and we were talking about just kind of moving forward. I made sure to tell him I'm always going to try to ask something different than what everybody else is asking. And he said, you got to. And that's a quote from the president, so I'll keep doing it. And when asked if Biden actually apologized, Doocy said, he cleared the air and I appreciated it. We had a nice call. That is not an apology. So Joe Biden did not, in fact, call to apologize for calling Peter Doocy a son of a bitch. He just said it's nothing personal. By the way, it did make it into the White House transcript, which is one of the great transcripts in American history. That it right there in the White House transcript. It's like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, basically, President Biden. Now, again, what this comes back to is a basic perception of politics that the left has just gotten wrong. And many on the right got it wrong, too, which is that Donald Trump was the murderer of American politics, not the coroner. I've said this 1,000 times. Donald Trump was elected president because he stumbled upon the body of American politics. It was still warm and there was a knife directly in its back. And then he crouched over it and looked at the knife in the back and everybody went, he did it. It was him. He must have murdered politics. Nope. It was like this before. It'll be like this afterward. Again, Joe Biden is not all that different from Donald Trump. He's just more used to Washington, D.C. The belief that Donald Trump was a difference in kind in terms of being rude and nasty to people is ridiculous. And Barack Obama was a pretty prickly fellow. And Joe Biden has been routinely prickly with people for years. You remember that on the campaign trail, he literally called one of his constituents fat. And there's a Bernie Sanders supporter who is asking him questions. And he goes, look, fat, you're gonna have a push-up contest right now, fat man. You want to do it, fat guy? It was just, he's a ridiculous person. Okay, but again, it's the media's double standard here that is truly astonishing. When Joe Biden does it, it is perfectly appropriate and totally cool. And when it is anybody else who is a Republican, then it's because they're bad and mean, and it's the death of democracy, and democracy is at stake, and the free press is about to be trampled upon. It's amazing how many reporters made a mint off of the period in which the free press was supposedly in existential danger. I know what you're thinking. It's time to binge some more Ben Shapiro videos. Well, you are right. You should. But first, like and subscribe. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video.